it's also important to, I've talked about ownership, and that's really key to how we move this club forward.
Nigel, final game of the season. How do you view this match? Is it to confirm what you know about this campaign, or to plan for the next one?
No, we've got to deal with the game itself. Is the priority, and I think after the last few games in particular, and how things have really shaped up, we are disappointed, of course, but now and just through this week, and there is an element of looking to the future, but my priority at the moment is definitely to make sure that we perform better and show better intent than we did last week, because I think the fallout from last week's game is a difficult thing to front up.
In terms of the message it sends, or how it looks, how important is it to finish the season with a good performance?
Well, it's what we need. Whether we get it or not is, at the moment, I think that's one of the difficult things for us, is we can't guarantee it. And for me to sit here and say that is not an easy thing for me to say, because that would always be the I think that's the bottom line that we have to produce every time that we play, and that is the intent and the work rate and the effort, and I have to say that that's not always been evident. And that's not a sweeping statement including everybody, but we're in a situation now where there has been uncertainty, and collectively we've just not dealt with the situation in the way that was required. So that's something else to work at, but let's keep things in perspective at the moment. It really is about us making sure that we get ourselves right for the game, because it doesn't matter about to a large extent the tactics if we don't go out and show the human qualities that we need, because that's really important for us. And on top of that, we're playing against a very good side, and we need to play well anyway. So I think the selection this week will reflect players who I think will bring us positivity, and who are probably in a better place themselves. And I think that's always something to consider, because when players, let's remember this, that players sometimes have to deal with their own, whether it be demons or whether their own self-doubts, and we've got a number of players who have been out of form for a while. So it's not just about them. When people make suggestions that we're down tools, I mean that's a difficult thing to hear. But I would say that most of the players have really been they've struggled, but they've been applying themselves as well as they can, but we've just fallen way short, and it's where we are, and we have to deal with it in the moment now, but we have to deal with it moving forward too.
Yeah, people might suggest things about certain players or the group, but actually there's a lot of things goes into dynamic and getting ready for a game, isn't there?
There is, but look, they're professionals, and so if nothing else, there has to be a personal and individual drive to answer criticisms, maybe, but also just the very basic necessity of being involved in a team sport. You've got to be able to still perform under pressure, perform sometimes, or at least have an understanding of how you perform when things aren't the way that you want them to be. And look, we know where we are. We know what the situation is. I'm certainly never going to kid myself about that. But we have a very tough game against Brentford, who have had a good season. Got the top scorer in their side. it will be a tough game, but I also think it's an opportunity for players to show what they're about.
In relation to that, so is this you talked about finding out who's going to be on the journey.
Yeah.
Is this so to speak, an opportunity for people to buy a ticket, as it were?
Every day is an opportunity. So match days are the most obvious ones. Match days are always obvious because when the team takes to the field, it's open for so many people to see it, or the opportunity for people to see it, even though our fans aren't able to physically be there. There are still opportunities for them to observe if they feel they want to. That is if you like, the public domain. But of course, being on the journey is about day-to-day behaviours, standards, the willingness to do things that sometimes are not natural to you, the things that are less, they're not high on your list of strengths, but it's also important to, I've talked about ownership, and that's really key to how we move this club forward. But yeah, it's a very interesting subject that people, we do judge on performances in games, but actually the real proof of people's desire to be involved in a longer term journey is the standards and the beliefs and the values in which they perform on a daily basis, both in terms as professional footballers but as people too.
I suppose it's like that old adage, it's not what you do in public, it's what you do when no one's looking, really, isn't it? That counts. Yes,
it is. Look, I don't expect everybody to be the same, and I think that's something that's we have to have a variety of types of characters and players with different strengths, of course, but there has to be a shared understanding of what the journey looks like, and at the minute we've not got that right, but that's something to work towards, and there's always opportunities to change, and that's the most important thing, and I do believe in people having opportunities, but they have to take it.
In terms of players available for the weekend, Tariq, Fam, Zach all missed out last weekend. Any chance of them being available for Brentford?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully Tariq and Zach will be back involved. Adam Nash won't be involved this week because he's got a family funeral which back home, which the family have tried to put off until the end of the season, but it's not possible, and I think he's had a lot of stress to shoulder on a personal level. I think he's handled himself exceptionally well, so we wish him the best and his family the best, but he won't be available because of that.
We've had some supporters up today, and the Supporters Club and Trust, Nigel, to present the end of season awards. How important and how nice is it to see some fans?
Yeah, it's good to. I think it's very important for us to have a sense of community, and because of the COVID regulations and how difficult it is to open up the facility here to the public. It's really good to at least today introduce some of our supporters and let them enjoy the experience of being in and around the Robins High Performance Centre, which is it's a really great place to come and work, and hopefully they enjoyed watching training today, and I'm sure that I suppose there is a sense of detachment this year in terms of not being able to feel as close to the club as our fans would like, and of course with the season going the way it has, I think that really does magnify people's emotions. But I think importantly we have a we have an obligation, but actually it's something that we need to develop as well, and that is a very close link with our fan base because they're very important to us. So yeah, good to meet them today, and hopefully in the future we get more people here.